So you're saying if I have this one particular thing, there's a high chance I'll get dementia.
Yes, but there is something you can do about it.
Hey, hope. Love some hope. Ooh. Ooh. This morning, I couldn't find my keys. You've probably been in the same situation. But should I be worried that this is some sign of early dementia? After all, it's been estimated that 1 in 3 children born today will be diagnosed with dementia. And this leads me to a question. Is there any way that I can test myself to see if I have any risk factors for dementia? Well, Sarah Morgan at Queen Mary University of London is working on just this topic. So I'm going to see her now. Sarah.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course.
Okay, so I've been forgetting things lately, and I want to know if I'm at risk of dementia. But when I say getting dementia, is it all one thing? Like, is Alzheimer's the same thing as dementia?
So Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia. And the interesting thing about dementia is that the symptoms and the pathology we see in the brain and what's going on in the brain is a spectrum along this scale that overlaps with the other types of dementia we also see.
These other types of dementia include vascular dementia, frontotemporal dementia, and dementia with Lewy bodies.
Okay, so what exactly causes dementia? What's the mechanism to cause people to start forgetting stuff?
So in the brain, the first area affected is your memory area of the brain. And when we look here, we can see that your neurons are dying, that they are producing extra protein that they shouldn't be producing, and this protein is misfolding and clumping up inside your brain. The other things going wrong, they're releasing too many chemicals that they shouldn't be releasing, and so they're dying back. They're losing their connections to each other, and we see that the brain starts shrinking.
It's those connections between neurons that create memories. In typical Alzheimer's disease, the hippocampus is affected first. This is the part of the brain involved in forming new memories. As the disease progresses, the brain shrinks by as much as 25%.
Once the memory area is affected first, it really spreads throughout the brain, and so you actually, later on in the disease, get many other symptoms that maybe people aren't really aware of, things like personality changes.
And it's a cascade effect. Sort of one area can be affecting the next, like a wave spreading across.
That's how we like to think of it, yeah.
I've heard about tau and beta amyloid. What are these the proteins you've been talking about?
Yes, beta amyloid is one of the ones that clumps up outside of your neurons, and the tau is the one that forms tangles inside your neurons. There's some debate on the field about whether these are causal or whether they're just a pathology that comes along with the disease, but a lot of people do believe these are the driving factors of what's causing this disease.
I know that there are certain factors that can put you at risk. So think about my factors. I'm a 57-year-old, healthy, white man with an 80s haircut. Does any of this make a difference?
So before we go into risks, maybe we should give you a dementia test?
Oh, scary, but let's do it. Okay.
Okay, this is the test that if you went to a GP, this might be the test that they would give you if you were nervous about having dementia. So I'm going to give you a name and an address, and after I've said it, I want you to repeat it and remember it because I'm going to ask you to tell me it again in a few minutes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So John Brown, 42 West Street, Kensington. Do you want to repeat it?
John Brown, 42 West Street, Kensington.
Don't worry, John Brown and his address are fictional. There are 5 tasks in total: recalling today's date, putting the numbers on the face of a clock, and adding the time.
Perfect, great.
Recalling a piece of news.
I saw that a footballer didn't want to come back to England.
And
The last question is, can you tell me the name and the address that I asked you to remember?
It's not John West, it's John Brown. He lives at 42 West Street in Kensington.
You got a perfect score, and we would tell you that we don't need to worry about you for now.
Okay.
well, that's reassuring, I think.
Unfortunately, this test is not very sensitive to early dementia. It really, as you can tell by the questions, they recognize when you've already lost quite a bit of your cognitive ability. So researchers like myself are trying to use new techniques like omics research to investigate somebody's risk of dementia.
Okay, omics. Now, I've heard of proteomics, genomics. Unpack that for us. What are omics?
So often we would look at genomics to find mutations in your DNA that either maybe predispose you to a disease or they guarantee that you get a disease. For proteomics, we're often looking in the blood and we're looking for high levels of protein that indicate you've got a disease or you're about to get a disease. We are trying to predict somebody who's going to get dementia 20 years before they are going to get the symptoms.
How do you know that that gene is associated with dementia?
So these are from longitudinal studies. So we have blood tests from somebody and we followed them for 20 years, say. And during that time, we know whether they get dementia or not. So we go back in time to look at the blood test and see what genes in the blood, which is actually in the form of a protein, is high and which ones are low that might help us predict that you're going to get it.
Okay, how many people do you need to look at before you really find trends?
So we tend to look at thousands, if not, if we can, look at millions of people. So for the data set that we've been doing here at Queen Mary, we've been using the UK Biobank. So this is about 500,000 individuals who have volunteered to be part of the study. They're all older and they've taken cognitive tests, blood tests, brain scans, a ton of questionnaire data to answer all questions about their health and lifestyle so that we can dig into it and find what we're looking for.
Okay, and so then when you look across that entire 500,000, you find some things that are really common among the people who also get dementia.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how many factors do we need to cause, and are any of them more causative than others or correlative than others? What are the really bad factors?
So in terms of risk factors, things, especially things that might be modifiable, that you can prevent, is head injury is the major one that when we look into our data, individuals that have head injury, especially if they have a mutation in a gene called ApoE, which is the strongest genetic risk factor for Alzheimer's disease, if they have that mutation and they have a head injury on top of that, they're at huge increased risk compared to the rest of the population.
The ApoE gene encodes a protein called apolipoprotein E, which carries cholesterol around the brain. Research is currently underway to understand how a mutation in this gene increases the risk for Alzheimer's disease. Recent research has confidently concluded that head injuries from contact sports like boxing, American football, and soccer can lead to chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which also causes the buildup of protein in the brain. And there are many other risk factors associated with the onset of dementia.
And we can actually demonstrate this with a game.
Cool, I love games. Blockhead, okay.
So if we imagine that you have your baseline risk of dementia,
Okay.
and you have a risk factor adding to this. So this might be your diet, or
Okay,
this.
so this is the junk food I had throughout my youth, and this is the alcohol I used to drink in graduate school.
Sure.
All right.
And this might be just age, getting older.
Okay, age.
And older.
I like the heart. Okay, so then what's this one? Because this shape is going to be difficult.
Yes, this one I would put as head injuries.
Okay, so if I'm building a tower of lucidity here, and it's still stable despite my junk food, my booze, and my age, if I get a head injury, likely the lucidity is going to fall down. This is where I'm going to lead toward dementia.
Yes, yes.
Sarah's research is helping to identify what these risk factors are and how they can accumulate over time, destabilizing our tower of lucidity and leading to dementia. But there's more.
All right, well, I think I've got my answer then.
Yes, but there's something exciting that we've been looking at in this data set, which is people that seem to have all the risks of dementia and they don't end up being diagnosed with the disease. So we can represent it with
This is like a stabilizing factor?
stabilizing stick.
Ooh, look at that.
And despite
Put them on.
Yeah.
So even if I ate a lot of junk food.
Yeah, and you know, as you age and get older, your risk goes up, but you have some kind of protective factor
That possibly even if I had some head trauma.
that might even protect you from that, yes. And understanding what these protective factors is as part of my research, because if we can understand what is protecting people from getting dementia, we can exploit it and use it as a drug target to use in people that we know are at risk of the disease.
How do I get me some of this? That's awesome. Okay, so is this 100%? Is this assured? Are we going to find that if I could live to 150 somehow by medical technology, it's going to keep on going forever? There's another factor in here. Are there factors that aren't saved by that and cause a breakdown of lucidity?
We often try to break this apart into individual pieces. So in my study with our collaborators, we have been looking at people who resist the effects of the pathology of dementia in the brain. And for these people, they have had mutations in a gene called GFAP, which is to do with the immune system in the brain and the support system that keeps our neurons healthy.
The GFAP gene encodes a protein called glial fibrillary acidic protein. It's produced by glial cells, the special cells that help to protect and maintain the brain.
So the immune system is implicated in a lot of things. What's going on with the immune system of the brain? Because that's going to be a little bit different.
Yes, the immune system of the brain and the general support cells in the brain are sometimes a bit of a double-edged sword. So sometimes they help the brain when you get dementia, and sometimes they really don't help the brain. So mutations in genes that are involved in these cells can sometimes have a very positive effect and sometimes have a very negative effect.
Positive because they're fighting infection or helping to clean out debris.
Yes.
And negative because they go haywire and start attacking or causing too much inflammation, which can damage healthy cells?
Yes, they can react too much and start damaging the cells that are already injured and start clearing them away, which is obviously not what you want in the brain.
When you say support cells, so these are glial cells. So these are cells that we always think of, when we think of a brain, we think the stars of the show, neurons, right? All about the neurons. But actually, most of our brain is not neurons. It's all of these support cells that I think in the past were thought of as just a secondary support role, and we're finding more and more are super important.
Yes. So the major two we're investigating are astrocytes and microglia. So astrocytes really sit next to neurons. They clean away any debris. They make sure the space is healthy and has the right molecules there that you want. They also sit next to the blood vessels, so they decide what nutrients are coming in and how much blood is supporting that area of the brain. And then we have our microglia, which are the immune system of the brain. So they respond to infection, they respond to something going wrong, injury of the brain, for example, head injury. The microglia are there doing their thing.
So there are people with a beneficial mutation in the GFAP gene that seems to promote their brain's glial cells to protect against dementia. I don't know if I have that mutation, but I have had a fair few knocks on the noggin. How concerned should I be?
Okay, so you're saying if I have this one particular thing, there's a high chance I'll get dementia.
Yes, but there is something you can do about it.
Hey, hope. Love some hope. All right, let's unpack that.
We all know what keeps us healthy. Exercise, healthy diet, socializing is actually a very positivity. Socializing is actually a really important one for dementia. If you are isolated, you have a huge increased risk of dementia. So having a little social network, friends, family, somebody close to you, even a dog has been shown to be protective against dementia because you have that interaction with the dog. Humans are social creatures. We need social interaction in our lives. You could do puzzles, daily puzzles. Keep your brain active. Anything that keeps the brain going, daily learning.
So next time I'm playing on my phone, I can claim that that's a good thing. Even if I don't have a dog, I like being social and I can mess around on my phone and do puzzles. Keeping that brain active should at least prevent the risk factors, or is it like a stabilizing factor on that tower of lucidity?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And until I see you next time, I'm going to start considering all the rest of my risk factors. I mean, good God, that time I fell off the surfboard. I've got
2 kids. Do you have any kids?
I have one.
I have 2 kids. We're sticking a bunch on there for that. My board game addiction, yeah. Lucid is not, it's not where I'm at.
I came into this with a question. Can I look at my own risk factors for dementia? And Sarah Morgan told me that, indeed, mutations in the ApoE gene and or any history of head trauma can be high risk factors. However, she and others are doing research that shows that there are other mutations which actually can protect from dementia, and that future work on these may help us to create therapies to prevent dementia. Until that time, keeping my brain active by doing puzzles and, of course, board games can help to protect me from getting dementia. Until next time, remember that between the question and the answer are all of the real tasty bits. Oh, here they are.
Okay, you know I love games. First move, go. I'll show you dementia. Just you wait. Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, come on there. Ah!